Welcome to a very special episode of the Jersey Oddcast. Our format is a little different for the next 2 weeks. Joining us today is someone who needs no introduction, unless you've somehow never been to a Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, a Columbus Day event, or a Sons of Italy golf tournament. We are thrilled to welcome Nick LaGuardia, former president of the Sons of Italy. He'll be joining us in a few moments. But first, we want to take a moment and remember Coach Robert Bobby Federico, who passed away on June 22nd at the age of 67, surrounded by his family. Born and raised in Hammonton, Bobby graduated from Hammonton High School in 1976 and spent nearly 4 decades working at Atlantic City Electric. But his true passion was football and shaping generations of young athletes. Coach Federico was the heart and soul of the Hammonton Hawks organization. For over 36 years, and since 2003, he served as head coach of the varsity team. He led with grit, grace, and an unmatched devotion to his players. Under his leadership, the Hawks claimed 7 championship victories, and he retired as the program's all-time winningest coach, with a record of 169 wins, 56 losses, and 1 tie. But the real victories were in the lives he changed along the way. Bobby was a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, a friend, and to so many, a coach for life. His legacy lives on not only in the record books, but on every field where a young athlete learns the values he stood for: dedication, toughness, teamwork, and heart. Our thoughts are with his family. Marinella Funeral Home handled the arrangements. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made in Coach Bobby's memory to the Hammonton Hawks. Attention Dave Mimone, P.O. Box 782, Hammonton 08037. Thank you. Guys, I know none of us were involved with the Hawks as youth. I wasn't here, and I know you guys weren't, but that's a tremendous legacy to leave behind.
Oh, without a doubt. I did not have the privilege of knowing the man, but a lot of guys that I went to school with did. And I have seen tribute after tribute to the positive impact that he made on their lives. And I can think of no better legacy than that, truly.
Yes, and when you think about it, we all know the influence that the Hawks organization has in Hammonton. And when you think of Coach Bobby Frederico, you have to put him at the top of any list of coaches. We look at the numbers, the statistics. But I like what was said in that piece that Gina read, that essentially it's the influence he had on so many
Yeah.
people that really is his legacy. And I will share in extending our condolences to his family and to also all the many players and coaches who were influenced by him.
Yeah.
Now, first word from our sponsor, Crowley and Carr.
If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609 561 0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
Welcome back to the Jersey Oddcast, and we are so excited to have Sons of Italy immediate past president Nick LaGuardia with us. Nick, welcome to the Jersey Oddcast.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute honor.
You
Great
say
to
that
have
now.
you, Nick. Yeah, yeah. Let's see if he still feels that way, and when we're done the interview, it's an honor now.
Yep.
I would expect nothing less.
Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with the Sons of Italy?
Of course, been a member since I was 22 years old, been around for a little bit, and the Sons of Italy means a tremendous amount to me. My father was a member, a lot of his friends were members, so I truly grew up in the Sons of Italy as 8, 9, 10 years old, going everywhere in town with my dad, including the club. And it means more to me with keeping with the traditions, and I got to say, I love my time there. Been an officer throughout the years. I was vice president. I was financial secretary. I was also a 6 year president for 6 years. Absolutely enjoy my time there and continue to be active with the club.
The episode is airing or dropping, if you will, about 2 weeks before the start of the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. What is your earliest memory of the feast?
Oh my! So one of my earliest memories is going down to the corner of Third and French Street, being on the corner of the church, and you would see the red stand on the corner, of course, on the lawn of the convent, and then
Mhm.
you had the blue stand, the Assumption stand to the left of it. Um, of course, the Mount Carmel stand, the brown stand, all the way in the back. But one of my earliest memories is seeing the guys and the traditions we talk about. One of the earliest things was the guys playing Italian fingers out
Yeah.
on the side of the Assumption stand. It seemed like that was always the area where the guys were playing Italian fingers. And as a young kid, you're like, what are they screaming about? I'm not too sure. And then you learn the game, and then you start to play, and everybody's questioning what you guys are doing. So that's one of my early memories. The passion in that game.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
good one. That's a good one.
What about now? What is the role that the Sons of Italy plays for the week of the feast?
It's really morphed into, I like to equate it to, we talk about Friday night at the Suns. You hear people talk about, hey, we'll see you at the Suns, we'll be at the Suns. And I feel like it's almost taken the place of Thanksgiving Eve. A lot of people, if they're not home at Thanksgiving, they're home for the festival, and they're coming to not only Mount Carmel and the various other stands, but the Friday night at the Suns is become, that's where we'll see you. So
Yeah.
that's nice, and we're proud of that, and we're proud of in our complimentary capacity to the feast for the true reason why we get together.
What are you looking forward to this year?
We always enjoy the food, of course, but the second annual running of the sandwiches, Sons of Italy has a title to defend. We are the red roast beef won last year and does not want to give up that title. So we will see what happens. That of course is on Sunday, July 13th, 4 o'clock sharp. Line up early with the kids on Cottage Avenue. And there'll be basically like a meet and greet with the sandwiches, with the racers. And it's a nice opportunity for the kids to take pictures and have a nice time. And in coordination with the running of the sandwiches, we also have the kickoff to the feast with our spaghetti dinner, and the club will open at 12 noon. You can come, eat, family atmosphere. The full bar will be open, and then we're open until about 7. But in the middle, like I said, 4 o'clock sharp, we will have the race between us and the Mount Carmel sandwiches. And it was really a nice time last year in the inaugural race, and looking forward to getting an even bigger crowd this year.
Now, how long until you guys start to make plush versions of the sandwiches to sell for the race, so the little kids can carry around a little
Right.
stuffed meatball sandwich or something? Because I'll buy one of each.
We're going to have to look around the carnival grounds and make sure the balloon game isn't giving away a red roast beef sandwich.
Yeah, you'd have to spend like $40, I'm sure, to get it. In
Yeah.
the carnival. Joe,
We're going to replace the goldfish.
that's it with the red roast beef sandwich. Joe, why don't you show the sandwich shirt? We got the shirt we did.
That's awesome, by the
Look
way.
at what do you think?
Yeah, love it.
There you go.
Absolutely
Well,
love it.
in true Hammonton fashion, we've taken something you've done, and then we're gonna try and make money off. So, so
We're
thank you.
donating all of
For
our
a good
profits.
Of course, we're donating all of our profits, but we still get to have the fun of
Yep.
making money off.
Has anybody decided to running a betting pool on this? I'm going to put 20 down on sausage and peppers. Like, I get to see that's Hamilton to me.
Wagering.
So
Gina,
if I
gambling
could
is
show you,
illegal.
Yeah, Gina, as gambling is illegal.
No,
This
only if
isn't
the house
Atlantic
what's-
City.
so what's the
house
spread?
keeps a cut.
Yeah, right. I see a big board going up in the Suns, like the 4 sandwiches.
so in
Thank
the initial concepts of the running of the sandwiches, that was absolutely on the table.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So we said we could make up trading cards for the sandwiches, and we could have the odds, and we could have a betting window. And we said, that's, as you said, it may be frowned upon, not illegal.
You are in Hammonton's Little Italy. I'm not saying that the two go hand in hand. I'm not
Yeah,
saying anything about that. It's just for the children. So
absolutely.
we can't have wagering. It's for the kids.
Yes.
Kids of all
Well,
ages.
that's
You want to teach the kid
yeah,
how
you
to
can.
handicap
Yes,
early? That's great.
absolutely, you can. Like my grandmother taught me how to play blackjack when I was 6. Kids know how to gamble. You
Yeah.
just, you could, like pennies. It doesn't have to be like, no, no. The buy-in's $100, kid. Come on, pony up.
It is a race, and we used to have the racetrack. We'd all go, and
Yeah.
all of our teachers were the tellers.
Yes.
But I think maybe we could bring some of them back. Pete Santilli, he could be like a teller. That'd be great.
Only if they wear the visors with the pen in
Right,
the hat.
that's right.
You know.
Oh man, see, we're adding a whole dimension to this. It sounds like it was talked about though in
Well,
the
yeah.
early stages. But
And,
it's gonna. I think in year 2, it's only gonna grow, Nick. It sounds like people really, and this is just one day.
yes.
And now a word from show sponsor Hammonton Family Eye Care.
See Hamilton Family Eye Care for routine and medical eye care for all ages. It's where I get my glasses, and you should get them there too. From glasses to contacts to eye exams and more, visit Hamilton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South Whitehorse Pike in Hamilton. Call 609 567 7479 or go to HamiltonFamilyEyeCare.com. Tell us about what the rest of the week looks like, the
So,
feast week for the Suns.
yeah. So we're open 3 days of the week. We're open Sunday for the spaghetti dinner, like I said. Of course, feast day, we'll open our doors at 10 a.m. And we're so proud of the traditions that we have over at the Suns, including with the feast day, is we have the same people, the same families that come back year after year on feast day, and they want to get into the club 10:30. They want their specific spot at the bar, whether it's folks from Philly, from Delaware, from Wildwood. They come from everywhere. And it's a tradition that they hold on to and pass down to family members. A couple years ago, right after COVID, we had a family come in, and they had been coming to the Suns for 20 something years. They lost the family member, and unique, they wanted to honor their father, and they brought his ashes to the Suns and had him that onto the bar sitting there. They wanted to be a part of it again with him, and his urn was sitting on the bar,
Wow.
and that meant something to them. And for us to be a part of that, it means the world to us.
Yeah.
That we're part of people's traditions, and that's why we do what we do, is preserving those Italian heritage and those traditions.
And in addition to it being a reunion and being, like you said, preserving the Italian traditions that we have, it's also there's entertainment, right? You have
Of
music,
course.
and
Yeah.
like people come out. It's become really a hot spot for that over
Yeah.
the years as well.
On Wednesday, feast day, the 16th, Nikki Giorno will be there DJing later in the evening after right around the dinner crowd, 4 or 5 o'clock on. Nikki G will be there. And then on Friday, like we talked about earlier, is the true entertainment aspect. The Friday night, we'll have Stealing Savannah, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
So come out, get a beautiful sandwich, a cold drink, and see some old friends.
I don't.
Go
I
ahead,
was gonna
Gina.
say I don't think people appreciate how much work you guys put into it because you're cooking all that food yourselves.
We are, and everything's homemade. Someone asked the other day, why don't we make the meatballs now and freeze them? And we said that's not what we do. We make them 2 days ahead of time, and they're the freshest meatballs around.
Yeah.
We're proud of it. We're proud of the product we put out.
How many
And
meatballs do you make, for example? Do you know?
my goodness.
Many meatballs, Gina.
Last
See,
year
it's hard
there was a few thousand
Wow.
meatballs.
And I ate probably half of them.
Joe.
It's significant, and we actually like to announce this as a little something new for this year. At the end of the night, when the band's playing, people tend to get a little hungry while they're leaving, and what happens? The kitchen's closed. This year we came up with a little idea: is we will, on your way out, we will have wrapped sandwiches to go, almost the DoorDash style.
Oh wow!
While
Nice.
while you're leaving the Suns, have cash in hand, and you can grab and
Pick up.
go.
That's
So,
great. That's great. That's brilliant, actually, because people are going to be hungry and they're
Yep.
going to want a little something to sop up, having a few beers. Nothing wrong
yeah,
with that, or
nothing wrong
whatever.
with walking down 3rd Street with a nice meatball sandwich
Yeah,
and
you got
on
it in
your
your
way
hand.
home.
Why not? I actually think that's going to become iconic. That's going to become like remember in the old days where they'd have ham and cheese sandwiches at a wedding.
Yeah.
For the feast, we're going to have these wrapped sandwiches, and you're going to see people at 11 o'clock walking down Third Street. That's great.
It's so funny you bring up the ham and cheese sandwiches because when people are talking about weddings now and how they've become such huge events and the wedding planners and
Yep.
everything that goes into it. Years ago, my father would go, "You guys are crazy." He goes, "We got married at the VFW and everybody got a ham and cheese sandwich."
That's right.
That's exactly what
That's
you're saying.
what it was. And I guarantee you, those wrapped sandwiches are going to become a part of the memory.
Yeah.
This is new, but it'll become a tradition. That's a great idea. On a point about tradition, Nick, we were talking before you came on about the length of time just in your family, and maybe you could speak to other families in the Suns that are similar. You talked about your dad being a gold card member.
Yeah.
And when did he start?
My dad was a member in 1972 up
Okay.
until when he passed in 2011.
Okay.
So, and then with my almost 30 years in, that's quite a bit of time
Yes.
with my family alone. But there's quite a few families that there was a grandfather, a son, and now a third generation in the club. And it's so important. It just means more. We've been around since 1935. And Gabe, of course, your family has ties with our founding president. You know?
Yes, my great grandfather Joseph Annie was a founding president of the
Hmm.
Suns, and certainly took his membership in his founding of the organization as a high honor.
Yeah.
And my dad was a member of the
Yes.
Suns as well. There's definitely a lot of familial ties, and then I know so many members
Yes.
of the Suns just from growing up here and being around here. And Joe, I don't know, Gina, right? We all know people.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking like everyone from Charlie Sabara to Donnie Jabez, like to give you like the sort of wide range of Suns members. But right, we know a lot of people in the Suns.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And the guys that have gone on before us, we miss them terribly. The
Sure.
stories live forever. Talk about guys like Boston Joe, Beaver, guys like that, Carmen and Ferreira, Whispers, the Pee Wee Pavese. Like these were guys that were icons within the Suns and paved the way and everything else. Of course, all of our past presidents are, and our current president, Danny Sacco, is doing a tremendous job of keeping it going and moving it into the future. So we're so proud of it. If you have the chance and to stop inside the Suns and you look at our president's wall, what is there? There's less than 20 of us.
Yeah. So,
Your great grandfather was once, and I'm proud to have served my time as president. There's not a lot of us.
and that's the thing, the stability and the long tenure of that organization, and your building that's iconic in Hammonton's Little Italy on Third Street. I often joke that if you think about the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, it's actually now like Disney World in that you have the Disney lands, right? You got the little lands, and you've
Yes.
got Sons of Italy land, and you've got Mount Carmel land, and even the Knights of Columbus have their hall and the church
Churchland.
and everything. And then the carnival itself. It really has become, in our lifetime, it had gone a little bit down, and then it really rose back up. And it's a testament to the generation you're in and beyond it.
We'll be back after a quick break to showcase our sponsor, Diversified Insurance.
See Diversified Insurance for all your commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609 567 7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
Do you feel that way, that it really has had a huge resurgence in the last, let's call it 20 years?
Sure, absolutely. And not only with just the feast week, but the work we do in the community throughout the year with weekly, we have a contingent of our members that help out with the food pantry. with the St. Vincent de Paul food pantry, loading and unloading the truck. The work that Ed Mueller does over there is incredible. And the amount of families that are fed in Hammonton through the food pantry, it really is eye opening. And my daughter had the opportunity to volunteer over there with the NHS program, and she's like, show my compassionate age. My daughter, she's, oh, Dad, there's so many people that need our help, and it's eye opening. Truly
Guys have
is.
been really supportive of the pantry project at the school district too. You really
Yes,
jumped in with that
and
too.
we have no problem, and that's part of our giving back to the community. We have fun over at the Suns, but our main objective is preserving and protecting our heritage and our traditions and doing some nice things for the community. Not everything we do gets published, and that's okay. We
Sure.
don't, not everybody
Yeah.
needs to know what we do for the community. There's plenty of private endeavors that we do, and we don't need the recognition. We know what we've done and who we've helped, and it's a good feeling. So I really feel like our club is in such a good place with the standing in the community, and we will continue to build on that.
Now,
Yeah. And
if
go ahead, Joe.
no, because I was about to go on a different topic, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, to wrap that up, a lot of people don't realize, like you said, the many things you guys do. But even in the act of doing it, you guys are like yet another glue that holds this community together. So the Suns they've really become. We always think of like Lions Club, Kiwanis Club, Rotary, and now the Sons of Italy has moved in that direction, and I think that's helped the town a great deal,
Yeah.
Nick.
It's nice because we have roughly 130, 140 members. And when our town, I always say it, Gabe and Gina and Joe, our town rallies like no other.
Oh, that's for
And
Yes.
sure.
when people need our help, we have the ability to do things not only physically, but financially. And if we can help somebody out, we're more than happy to do it.
Now, if my math is right, you guys were founded, or this lodge was founded in 1935, which means that this is your 90th anniversary, correct?
Yes, February 4th was our 90th. We had a Founders Day
Woohoo.
internally, a Founders Day celebration. So in 10 years, it's going to be our 100th
Yeah.
anniversary of the club. And we will celebrate that as well.
I didn't know if you had started throwing around ideas yet about what might be to come, because I know for the sesquicentennial, I said it right, of
Nice
the
job. Well
of
done.
thank you, of the
Well,
feast this
I'm
year.
not going to
they-
ask you to spell it, though, even though I know you can.
Yeah,
You've
you
proven
can.
it.
You
Last
can.
time I spelled it, I forgot the U, so I'm not going to do
Yeah.
it again. Because I know the guys over at Our Lady Mount Carmel Society, they started planning 6 or 7 years ago for this. So
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had started kicking around ideas like in 10 years, the sandwiches will have jetpacks or something.
We're going to have to expand over to North 2nd Street instead of just on Cottage.
They're gonna add. They're gonna add actual race card. There'll be like a bunch of races, like sandwiches, cannolis, little rice balls. I don't know. It's like as
Arancini.
far as they can take it.
Gabe, are you saying there's sponsorship opportunities?
I believe there might be. I believe there might be. The Jersey Oddcast may be interested in doing something to help out. But yeah, you never know. It can only grow. That's what I'm saying. It can only get bigger.
Yes.
It can only grow.
Uh,
Oh,
I didn't mean to.
by
That
the
was
way, Gabe,
totally not intended.
You
you've
know,
also been you've been mispronouncing it this entire time. It's not Sons of Italy. Back me up on this, Nick. It's all one word: Sunsaitly. Sons of Italy.
Sunsetly. Yeah, that's it should or just sons.
Yeah.
But it's whenever they say sons, I hear SUNS, not sons, but it's the sons. It'll be
Yeah,
the sons.
exactly. And you'll hear us. We'll tag it in posts and things like that. We'll see you at the Suns. It's
That's it.
everybody knows what you're talking about.
Yep.
And internally, you'll see it sometimes on T-shirts, or the guys, or I've even said it. Guys will say, "Hey, I'm heading over to the club tonight," and it's the club,
The
and
club.
it's pretty funny. Like,
They say the club like people from Washington Township say township. Like it's
yeah,
the only one.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that's it.
What are you doing tonight? You going to the club tonight? Yep. Yep. We'll
Yep,
see you over there.
I'll see you over there.
And now a moment for our show sponsor, Marinella Funeral Home.
Marinella Funeral Home has been serving the community since 1962 and has been family owned and operated for 3 generations. Marinella Funeral Home provides individually designed burial, cremation, and pre planned funeral services to meet the needs of each family. Ask them about how pre planning provides true peace of mind to your family. Contact the Marinella Funeral Home, located at 102 North 3rd Street in Hammonton at 609 561 1311.
The one thing that I've always been frustrated about is that I've never been able to play cards with you guys because obviously I am not the right gender. So I've been a little salty about that for almost 30 years. But I hear you guys have some of the best card players, like all kinds of games. And is that still true?
We do not play cards at the Sons of Italy.
That's inappropriate.
Yeah, but I'll
Funny?
say
I just meant in general, like for fun.
oh,
That's what it's
there's
all.
always fun. So we did used to host pinochle tournaments internally, of course,
Yeah.
but all for fun. Pinochle tournaments, poker tournaments, but like I said, internally, no money prizes, anything
No, I'm
like
not talking about
that.
that. Just for the fun, like the game.
I will say this: they're absolutely are good players. Okay,
Yes, let's say.
You guys
They're,
used to have some
they're,
really good gin rummy players too back in the day. That's who I wanted to play.
oh, well.
there was
That's like a reference to Mike Palmieri, I feel.
oh, of course, of course.
That was one of my Sons of Italy guys saying it, Joe, that way.
You got it. Got
Okay,
it. Unzipply.
and Mike,
Farmer's daughter.
farmer's daughter, Mike, that Mike, and he could play cards, but
It's
that
cousin
was
Tony.
largely at farmer's daughter with cousin Tony Donio, TD, and with who else? Mike Perna, I believe,
Yeah.
former fire chief.
Gabe, amongst that conversation, you could do a whole hour on the amount of card games that used to be in town on any day of the week. And
Yes,
during this hour,
yeah. Since we're talking, we could do a solid hour on, and we could do 20 minutes on the right way to tear up cards when you were throw them on the table. Not saying that there were these card games all over town, but there were.
If you're not a card player, you don't really enjoy the games. But Joe, did you play?
I'm good at rummy, not so great at poker. Always wanted to know how to play pinochle. I remember my parents playing pinochle. I remember, God, sometimes when I used to hang out with Tom Mazza and Lord, his name is Joe Domenico. Sorry, Joe, my apologies. Over at the little garage that used to be at Holy Sepulchre, where Tom Mazza was the caretaker, and Joe would come over, and after work was done, a whole bunch of guys would go over and have coffee around 3 o'clock, and every now and again they'd play pinochle for a little bit, and I always wanted to learn, but I never learned how.
Missed
it's an interesting
opportunity.
game.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm looking forward to turning 50. Apparently, they teach you how to play pinochle at the canoe club.
Nice. Let's see.
3 more years.
It's exciting, Joe. You're going to be right there. But the Sons of Italy, that's the last bit about it to me. There is a mystique. The building, there's no windows on the front of it on the bottom floor. But there's also, I love the board and the different lettered messages that you guys put up on the board. There's 2 boards that like that on 3rd Street. One is at Marinella Funeral Home, Nick, and then the other one is a few blocks down with a little lighter tone.
Definitely 2 different messages.
Yeah, when like even the sports ones, when the Phillies won the World Series or things like that, or the Eagles, I love the messages. Now, who comes up with the messages that go up on the board?
There's a couple guys that manage the board, and they're very witty. And one of my favorites that during the COVID era was the "Wash of You Hands."
My favorite, absolute hands down, my favorite. Brilliant.
That was great. Yeah. And it's just little things like that make Hammonton, because that's not happening anywhere else, but it's happening here.
There's another board in town on South 3rd Street, right before the clock, that often has also witty messages that have double meaning.
Yes.
The Baptist Church. And
Yes.
I got to tell you, I enjoy reading them.
They're great. I always slow down take a good look at that board too. So 3rd Street has all sorts of messages if you want them.
If you want.
Yeah, you can just slow down and it's all different stripes. But that one's a good one too. The Baptist Church, Nick. That's great.
I got to say, they're thought provoking too.
Yes, absolutely. Pastor Denick is a big thinker. Quick question. Am I remembering right? I don't know if were you on Donio Trucking?
Gabe, I believe you called the championship game from the press box.
I believe I did call that championship game 1989. Still have the jacket I was
Back to
given.
back
Back to
champion.
back championships. And John Denick,
Yes.
son of Pastor Denick,
Oh,
on that team.
Yes.
Just to tie a little bit of Hammonton lore. And yeah, that was a great team. Oh my God.
We were the underdogs that year. I was 14 that year. It was the next 15-year-old year.
Yep.
And if you remember, actually, Joe, you'll be happy to know we had a little mascot that year. Gabe, do you remember what was flying in the dugout for the championship run?
That's, you know what? You're stymieing me. I'm trying to remember.
Oh
Go
my
ahead,
God.
give it to me.
Somebody stumped Gabe
I'm
Donio.
stumped. I was
Love
up
it.
in the press
mark
box.
this day, everyone.
He's going
I'm
to
gonna
remember
kick
this.
I'm gonna kick
And Joe's
myself.
going to smile because it was a Batman T-shirt.
Yes, it was. It was a Batman T-shirt, and there's video evidence of John Denick holding up said Batman T-shirt
Yes.
and dedicating the win to his girlfriend at the time, which I will not say because clearly it's not anymore. But yes, that was a great year. It was a Batman T-shirt because it was 1989, Joe.
The year
That's
of the
why.
Batman. Yep.
I still have my jacket, chain embroidered because it was lobbied for to bring this all back around to the Suns by the manager of the team who was, Nick, who was the manager?
There were two. It was my father and Smokey Cirillo.
That's right. But no, I'm going earlier than that. I'm sorry. That year was Smokey and your dad.
And my
Before that, Joe Serrano.
Joe F. Yep.
Joe. So there was a lot of Sons of Italy influence on the Donio trucking team. For
Yes.
sure. And boy, they could win. And it was a good team. In
Oh, yeah.
89 especially.
A lot of fun, and you think back on those years, and they do a great job with Little League now, but with the influx of travel ball and everything else, we were down the lake every night, whether we were playing, we were watching our friends, we were hanging out, and for those 2-3 months, we were at the lake every night.
We'll be back in a moment, but first, a quick break to showcase our show sponsor, Bagley Annie's Market.
At Bagley Annie's Market, they always say, we treat our customers like family. With a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more, Bagley Annie's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagley Annie's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609-561-0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information. Speaking of stuff hanging up, and what do you think of the moving of the scoreboard to center field and the Hawks building being kind of removed? I don't know. I'm a traditionalist. That to me would be like taking the Green Monster out of Fenway Park. What do you think of it? Yeah.
Hey, if the powers that be wanted to put that there, I mean, myself, I have to say, wow, that's. I was
That's a
confused
choice.
when they had the giant H in the batter's eye.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
right.
well, that
Yes, right.
seems curious. But instead of
That's
the
right.
giant H, we're going to put light bulbs.
Light bulbs in the batter's eye. It seemed Gina just said it was a choice.
Yep.
I don't know. But look, I would just say it this way. Hey, isn't it great? We talk about traditions again to link things together. The people we're talking about, some of whom aren't with us anymore, some of whom are still with us, but also we still have the Pony League field, as I call it, Senior League, Pony League. We still have the Suns. We still have the Feast of Our Lady, Mount Carmel, 150 years going strong. I think it's an amazing town. I always say that.
It is. It truly is amazing. I talk to my college friends that we stay in touch with, and the majority of them are from North Jersey, and they always reflect back, and they're like, they consider South Jersey backwards, but they're like, Hammonton's different. They're like, Hammonton's legit. And I said, it is. I'm not just biased because we live here. I love our town. There's people that'll say, oh, Hammonton, everybody knows your business. I was, I lived out of state. I lived in Columbus for 4 years, and we absolutely missed that aspect of knowing who your kids are growing up with, who they're playing with. Our kids come home from school and they say, hey, Dad, can I stay at the house? What, you want to show our age? All right, who's their mother? Who's their father?
Yep.
And we
Yep.
laugh when
Yeah.
our parents said it, but it means something.
And now a moment for show sponsor Demeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation.
Demeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation are here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609-561-3597 or go to demeglioseptic.com for Demeglio Septic, or call 609-561-4666 for quality sanitation. Experience the Demeglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability. Nick, if it makes you feel any better, those 4 years that you were in Ohio, we talked about you the entire time, and we knew what you were doing. So
Yeah. We were all like, he's over there in Ohio.
There
Yeah.
must
believe
have been
Nick
a
went to the
pool
store
about when
today?
you're coming back.
Yeah, there was a pool. There was a pool. We weren't allowed to have a betting pool because
Every,
that's illegal.
everybody comes back, but think about it. We were out there and something breaks, whether you need a plumber, electrician, there's a good chance somebody either in your family or a close friend or a relative,
Yeah.
whatever, can help you. Out there at the time, you're looking up the yellow pages. So,
Yeah, we had not invented, but we perfected the phrase, I know a guy.
yeah.
Like, yeah, and you just call, and usually it's a cousin or someone you went to school. Not unlike this whole discussion today. But the other thing is that on your point, I knew somebody, he lived in a wealthy suburb. He grew up in Hammonton, wealthy suburb of Pennsylvania. And he called me once and he was like, I'd like to move back because I don't like the feeling of not knowing what you said. My kids are with other kids. I don't know their parents. I don't know anything about them. And I'm missing that sense in middle age of being connected
Yeah.
to the, like Hamilton. You knew where people lived because they had lived in that same house for 40 years.
yes.
And so that person really missed and eventually came back, which is it's a nice story where you say, there you go. We got another one.
And Gabe, when we were talking about some of the history of the Sons of Italy, as the older members pass, you used to look to some of these guys to tie everything in. So you're like, yeah, that's husband, and his mother was this lady, and she used to make the homemade macaroni. And it goes down the line where just how everybody is related, how everybody's tied in, and you miss out on those stories. You're like,
Yeah.
man, we're gonna write this stuff down.
Yeah. Eventually, there should be a book
Yeah.
and that literally has those traditions and different things. Like I did a book that was mostly photographic memories of the town, but I think we need a book that really says these are the certain phrases and people and families and traditions that really make Hamilton what it is. Not all Italian, doesn't have to be all Italian, but a lot of it will be Italian.
Yeah.
And nothing
I,
wrong with that.
I think you have a pretty good start with the panel that I'm looking at here. And start jotting things down. And instead of the pictures, Joe, you have a head start of just the nicknames alone and the stories and everything else. And
Sure.
Gina could corroborate these. And Gabe, your knowledge of the local, whether you want to call it family ties or however things operate, it's commendable.
Thank you, Nick. And this could be someday we'll look back and say we got the idea when we were sitting and interviewing Nick to do that book we did because I think the town just I don't know what you said about they said Hamilton's legit.
Yeah.
I think now with the downtown looking good and the business park looking good and the White Horse Pike looking good and everything else we're talking about today, yeah, maybe it's time for a really nice book again, like they did when Hamilton was 100.
Yeah.
I think we might be there because there's a lot of pride now in the
Gabe, you
town.
have 10 years to put together for the Sons of Italy's
Oh, yes,
100.
Well,
I was
no,
thinking that
Nick's
exact
right.
thing.
We're doing this by committee.
But you have time to get it done by then. You could be the cheerleader. You could be the champion of it. Your great grandfather was the founding president. This is a good project for you.
We were just talking about the Suns, but yes, that would be a good aspect. Just the Suns deserves at least a chapter.
Maybe.
To your point, though, to your point, Gabe, about the town, is there is hometown pride here. If you drive down the White Horse Pike from Mullica all the way to the border of whatever you want to call, say, Elm, we
Elm.
have filled buildings with businesses.
Ellum.
Yeah.
But the shopping
Yes.
centers are filled because if you continue on and you start hitting the neighboring towns and vacancies and whatever they're being filled with is not as desirable, I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
Downtown, the White Horse Pike corridor, it's nice and refreshing when those stores are filled.
Yeah, would you guys call it keeping up with the Joneses, but in a good way? With
Yeah.
that, to throw it out to all three of you, agree with that thought that part of what makes the Suns work is that they're working in a town that's working well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd necessarily say that we're keeping up with the Joneses. I think we're throwing down the gauntlet and daring the Joneses to keep up with us.
There you go. That's a good point. We're actually the ones that are leading now.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, Nick, that you said that your college friends are like, "Oh, Hammonton's different," because I'm sure you all have experienced this. Anywhere I've gone in South Jersey, and when someone asks invariably where you're from, and I say Hammonton, the response is almost always some variation of, "Oh, yeah, you guys do things differently there."
We do.
Yeah, we do, and it works.
I would say the number one thing is we take care of our own, and there's hometown pride in our town. And I think collectively, when someone's going against someone from town, it raises eyebrows. We get our back up and go, whoa, whoa. We could talk about that guy. You can't.
That's right. That's our job to bust that guy's stones.
Yeah.
You can't come in here and do that. And then the other thing is, like you said, put it very well. We take care of our own. We take care of our town. We see the bigger picture. I think in a lot of other communities that went away 40 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no sense of like town fathers and mothers taking care of the town because I don't think in a lot of places people care about their community that way. Not like we do.
No.
I'll go back to our children. If I'm out in a restaurant or something and I see one of my friends' kids who are now on the verge of becoming adults, they'll come up to me, shake my hand, "Hi, Uncle Nick, Mr. LaGuardia," whatever the case is. But at the same time, now they know I'm in the restaurant. I'm keeping an eye on them, and I'm going to let them know, yo, you're a little out of line right now. Reel it back in. Okay, your parents won't accept this.
Yes, and for those listeners and viewers who may not know Nick personally, who have not yet met him, there's a dimension to this that you can't really see or hear through his voice. Nick is a very tall, imposing figure. So if any of his children's friends or his friends' children see him and know that he's watching, I don't act out around Nick, and I've known Nick for 30 years.
Yeah. Nick won't say it. I'll say it. His father before him, now Nick. It's a lot of people say Big Nick, but it's not just Nick. And then it's definitely it's not an ironic nickname. It's
no.
And look, that's good though because again in Hammonton, if you stood up next to a table of teenagers or whatever. I think they would be like, okay, we're going to quiet down a little bit.
And didn't your parents' friends do that for you guys too growing up here?
Oh, yeah. Without a
1,000%. And you know what? I used to say, even with whether it's teachers in our community, family, friends, when I'm at the door at the funeral home, I always use this example. When Coach France used to come in the funeral home, guess what? I stood up a little straighter. I straightened my tie.
You sure did.
I made sure I put a good handshake on.
Now I'm gonna quiz you like you did with me with the Batman thing that I forgot until you said it, which now I remember it. I won't forget again. Coach France, when you were his student, if you got out of line, he'd make you drop and give him at least 10, maybe 20. And when you got back up, what did you have to say to him? Do you remember what he said?
Thank you for showing an interest in me,
That's
sir.
exactly right. That's exactly right. So you're way better than me, Nick, with this memory. But that is, and again, we have these shared memories from Hammonton High School.
Sure.
As I'm sure St. Joe people do too here in Hammonton. But think about that. That's like something out of the 50s. Like
Right.
that whole, like that wasn't happening. And then when you saw him later in life, you still were like, "Oh, Coach France is here," and you're
No
No
right.
doubt.
chance. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So it's great. I don't know. That's the greatness of the town, I think.
We need to bring back some more of that discipline.
For sure.
I
For
think
sure.
on that note, I just want to wish you buona festa, and we can't wait to see the Sons of
Bonifesta.
Italy during the feast week. And I am putting all of my money on meatball sandwich this year.
On meatballs.
My
Mm.
fictional money,
And
my Monopoly money, because we don't bet on
I'm
those
gonna
things.
Interesting choice.
yeah,
I'm gonna put all of my Monopoly money on the roast pork and broccoli Rob. It's 150th. That's Mount Carmel's signature sandwich. I have a good feeling about them, so that's where my money is at. I will be eating meatball sandwiches and red roast beef on Friday night, but that's where my money's at.
I like your thought there. I'm going to be a little outside the box thinking here. I'm going to put my money on moving the race from Cottage Avenue to French Street and making them just throw fingers instead. They're going to play the sandwiches. They'll just start playing an Italian finger. What do you
Yeah,
think?
but they've
I
got those
love it.
giant cartoon hands that don't have the right amount of fingers.
We'll have to remake them so they can throw that. No V.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this
And
conversation has devolved,
and
as
if
it
you
often
As they
truly,
does.
do.
if you truly listen to the gentleman playing fingers, I'm pretty sure it's not Italian being spoken.
No, and I'm pretty sure it's not something you want children to be watching either. So maybe we'll just leave the sandwiches on Cottage Avenue
Yeah.
where they belong.
And,
That's
and
okay.
keep the fingers game next to the clam.
Yeah, that goes over there where it belongs.
Thank you, Nick, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Good luck,
Um,
Nick.
my
Thank you,
pleasure.
Vic.
Thank
Man.
you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Jersey Oddcast will return in a moment after a quick word from our sponsor, United Roll-Off.
Looking for fast, reliable dumpster service? Call United Roll-Off Service and Recycling, LLC. Family owned by the Grasso family and proudly serving South Jersey since 1999. 3 generations strong, United Roll-Off is your local solution for household cleanouts, construction debris, concrete, and yard waste, with 11, 20, and 30-yard dumpsters ready when you need them. Serving Hammonton and all of Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cumberland, and Gloucester counties, we've got the size, service, and local touch you can trust. Visit us at 735 Wiltsey's Mill Road, Hammonton, or call 609 561 8287 to get started today. United Roll Off, local, loyal, and ready to haul.
We want to thank Nick LaGuardia for joining us. The Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society sent us a video of the sandwich race from last year. It's 4 legends, 1 deli showdown, red roast beef, sausage and peppers, classic meatball, and the mighty roast pork. It's not just a race, it's the running of the sandwiches. Only in Hammonton could lunch turn into a full contact folklore. Grab a napkin, things are about to get saucy.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the first inaugural sandwich race. It was an idea of one of our friends that we work with. This was a great way to start our festival week. Come out and see it.
One thing's clear, this town runs on sandwiches. July 13th can't get here soon enough. This episode of the Jersey Oddcast will return in a moment, but first, a word from our show sponsor, Masterwire.
For more than 40 years, Masterwire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri-state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products to do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to install your fence, they've got you covered. Masterwire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Masterwire at 609 567 1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
I've been searching about weird things for New Jersey, and I was looking for something different. And I found out that the borough of Roosevelt, which I believe is in Monmouth County, is the only municipality in New Jersey that is, in its entirety, a registered National Historic Site.
That is strange.
Did you guys
Really?
know that? Have you been
No,
there?
no, I've never been there, but I thought Cape May was
The
designated.
entire
No,
municipality.
I'm saying I thought Cape May, the entire municipality, but apparently not. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the internet tells me. And if it's on the internet, Gabe, we know it's true.
Of
Oh,
course, it's true. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that
yeah.
makes sense.
One
But do they say why Roosevelt achieved such a distinction?
Oh, you wanted me to do an in-depth research. I didn't.
Okay, we'll let the oddballs out there if they want to comment on if they know about Roosevelt and why it is such a historic area. Maybe it just has a collection of historic buildings or something.
And I think it's like a really tiny population.
Okay.
According to a really bad source, in my opinion, Wikipedia, the census count in 2010 was 882, and in 2020 it was 808. So I think it's
Wow.
really small.
That's probably why then, if you take a municipality the size of Cape May, you've got newer buildings there. And you've got a couple thousand residents in Cape May. If you've got 800 people living in the town, it can't be very large at all. So I can see why then they could just declare the entire thing on it, but still an entire town. It's hard to get on the register. It is not an easy process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens and see if we can learn more. And maybe we'll have to take a ride up there. I don't know.
We have to
Hmm.
find that out.
Yeah, that's something I never knew. So that's cool.
Maybe we should wear our Oddcast merch when we go up there, Joe. How can people get T-shirts or even hats or mugs for focusing on the Oddcast?
What an excellent question.
Thanks.
If you want mugs, we got them. You want tumblers, magnets, hats, or t-shirts, including our exclusive Running Red Sandwiches design, we got all of that. And you can find it all at jersey-oddcast.printify.me.
That's awesome. Thanks, Joe. Gabe, I know we have Mount Carmel coming up, but there are still
Yes.
so many things happening. What's going on in the world of South Jersey, and what should people be looking forward to doing?
We look no further than the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar. Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat. Delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609 561 9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. And now the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar. Come to Rocco's Townhouse before going to the Eagle Theater. Disney Magic hits the stage with Dare to Dream Junior, July 10th through July 12th. Join a group of Imagineering trainees as they sing songs from Encanto, Frozen 2, Coco, and more in this brand new family musical adventure. Also of note, celebrate Independence Day in style. Join the town of Hammonton for their 4th of July fireworks at Hammonton Lake Park, kicking off at dusk around 9 p.m. at 100 Sports Drive. Bring a chair, bring your crew, and get ready for a sky full of sparkle. Rev up your engines. The Waterford Car Show is rolling into town on Saturday, July 12th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Waterford Township Municipal Complex in Atco. Judge show, trophies, food trucks, and DJ Frank on the tunes. Think you know your tunes? Test your skills at Jukebox Bingo on Friday, July 11th at 7 p.m. at Tomato Vineyards. The tasting room opens at 5, and just $5 gets you 4 games of fun. Email tina.dematiowine@gmail.com to reserve your spot. Wine, music, and bingo? Yes, please. More information about these events can be found online. Gina?
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate that. So it's 4th of July weekend, and this is a time when we are so used to great movies coming out. We're trained to love that. But it's also time to think about like great patriotic movies. So for this week's odd poll question, I want to ask all of you, what is your favorite 4th of July movie? Something that has to do with America's founding or the 4th of July itself. So I'm going to give you 4 choices and I want Joe and Gabe to pick, and then obviously our audience. 1776, the greatest musical ever, right? Independence Day, Will Smith in his prime. Yankee Doodle Dandy, see James Cagney in a whole new light. Or National Treasure, Nick Cage's best work. And honestly, Philadelphia never looked so good. So, which of those 4 is your most favorite 4th of July themed movie? Don't answer all at once.
Gabe, you go first because this is tough.
I'll make it easy. 1776. I know that everyone's going to say, oh, sure, because you guys just talked about all that and different things. But for me, it really is the quintessential 4th of July movie. My brothers and I quote from it all the time. It's something that's a tradition in our family. So for me, 1776, hands down, and just think there's nothing better than when John Adams is essentially losing it in the chamber of the Congress, and then
Which time?
when he's
Sit down,
singing,
John.
"Is anybody there? Does anybody care?
Does
Okay.
anybody see?
What I see?" And let me tell you something. I can relate to that guy at that moment. There have been
Oh.
times in my life where I've been there.
Oh yeah, I have crossed the Rubicon. Let the bridge be burned behind me. Yeah,
Right,
I feel that.
Exactly.
I
You know
feel
how
that.
that goes. How
Yeah.
about you, Joe? What's your pick?
I'm gonna go with a surprise here, and I'll explain my choice. National Treasure.
Really?
Oh, so good.
Yes. The reason being, I love 1776, and I think that is the perfect movie about the signing of the Declaration. Even though some of it may not be necessarily historically accurate, I'll sing every word. Love it. Love, as I've said before, love Yankee Doodle Dandy. Jimmy Cagney is a tap dancing fool in that, and he was like one of the first and best Renaissance men in Hollywood. Independence Day, pure popcorn fun on a bun, but National Treasure is one of those movies that when you're flipping through and you see it, it doesn't matter where it is in the film. It could be at the start, it could be 5 minutes from the end. You stop and you watch it. I don't necessarily do that with the others, but I do that with National Treasure. And that's why I'm going with that.
A bold choice.
I thought so.
These are great, but it's obviously Independence Day.
That makes sense.
I think that movie's just been stuck in my brain for so many years. Saw it in the theater opening weekend. Just loved the whole movement of it, the whole concept, and life outside of ourselves, outside humans. I think it's important and interesting. And Will Smith is great. Harry Connick Jr. is there for the 10 minutes that he's there.
Oh, I
That's
forgot
great.
about him in there.
Yeah, you have an exotic dancer who hangs out with the first lady. You got a little kid. Isn't one of your Star Trek guys in that movie too?
Oh, yeah, Brent Spiner. He plays the mad scientist.
Also goes back to 1776, if you will. So there you
Yep.
go.
How about Judd Hirsch?
Oh, one of his
Oh,
best roles. One of his
And-
absolute best roles.
and let's be honest, Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's for you.
Does
What-
anybody look better than Jeff Goldblum in that movie? No, he does. No one does.
Jeff Goldblum is one of those people that it doesn't matter how bad the movie is. If he's in it, it's automatically elevated by a star.
Agreed.
Yeah. You
So-
definitely Jeff Goldblum, and you're like, it can't be all bad.
Yeah.
And episode or the second one, the sequel, broke my heart. It was not as good, not even close to being as good. But I will still say Independence Day is my favorite 4th of July
Okay.
theme movie.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
that makes sense.
Well, Joe, are we going to have good weather as we grow closer to the 4th? What's it going to be like?
Since you asked, Gina, it sounds like it is time for the Oddcast forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, and sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609 561 3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season. And this year, Ben Castone Landscaping is celebrating its 25th anniversary. Ben Castone thanks his customers, family, and friends for all their support and is looking forward to many more years to come. And thankfully, this weekend is not going to be as bad as previous days and weeks. The heat broke last week. Everything's getting better. It's going to be a little bit above average, but right about where we should be for the first weekend in July. Wednesday, we're looking at a high of about 89 and a low of 69, partly cloudy. Thursday, it's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 89 and a low of 70. And Friday, for the 4th of July, it's looking to be partly cloudy with a high of 90, but a low of 68. So as long as the weather holds and there's no surprises, it should be nice for the parade. There should be nice clear skies for the fireworks. But again, this is Jersey. Who knows?
Fair. Well, if any oddballs out there want to get in touch with us, maybe they want to advertise, maybe they just want to know where to follow us. What should they do, Joe?
For more information or for sponsorship opportunities, email us at jerseyoddcast@gmail.com. Call us at 609 444 6178. Listen to us on YouTube or your favorite podcast service, or visit our website, jerseyoddcast.com.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. We'll be back next week with more chaos, commentary, and community because someone's got to do it. Have a great week.